Hey guys, welcome to shop this week, and in this week's What's in My Shop, I have the Victorian Desktop almost done. It's close. And I also have that same stack of cherry that I had before, except slightly narrower, slightly thinner, and, well, mostly slightly thinner, and the width that it should be. This one I may end up having to find another piece to redo. It ended up the right size, except for thickness. This end is about right. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. But then this end, I accidentally went a little bit too far and ended up at 5/8. So that one, we'll see. I don't know that I really feel like planing all the other three pieces down to 5/8 to get this one useful. So I may end up using this for something else and just finding enough stock to make another 18-inch long piece and make sure that it stays at 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, this was Thursdays of last week's fun, and it was quite a bit of work. I ended up with a lot of shavings. And that's not even all of them. But yeah, so that was quite the workout. But now this is mostly done. I still have, these are going to be like 4 side pieces, and then these are going to be frame pieces. And I will probably end up planing all of these to the same width together. I did them in pairs already, so these two match and these two match. But what I want to do is probably go ahead and plane all 4 of them down to the same width, just so that they actually match, so I'll have less to clean up later when I go to dovetail all those together. But that's coming along. I should hopefully get some more work on it done this week, and next week I probably won't get a whole lot done after the update. I'll be out of town for most of it, but we'll see. I do have that following Monday off, so who knows. And I hope to be sharing some more of this later once I get more of the pieces done in terms of the actual woodworking, joinery, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's coming along nicely. This thing I did get reassembled, and I have it all put back together. I have all the parts in it. I have the window in it now with the protective masking taken off, so that's finalized. I have the button is all wired up, the 2 USB ports are reinstalled, the radiator is put back in the front, the graphics card's put in it. I have the back panel all put together with that metal that I had to paint before. And let's see, what else do I have? I have, if you can see in there, I have the acrylic tubing. I bent that. I got that all bent and installed. I have a piece that goes from the radiator to the inlet on the water block, and then from the outlet of the water block it goes around to the other side. Let's see if I can. So this one here is the one that comes from the other side. It comes from the water block out back into the reservoir, and from the reservoir it goes straight into the pump, which goes straight into the radiator. Just kind of does that whole loop all the way around. But I got the reservoir installed, all the hardware is installed. I do have it filled, but I did run into an issue with this reservoir leaking. It's kind of an interesting leak. It's if I keep the water low enough so that it's not up above this top cap seal when it's off, it does fine, because that's the part that was leaking. Up here there's an end cap on the reservoir that just kind of screws onto place and has an O-ring to keep it sealed, or to try and keep it sealed. But yeah, so the bottom one didn't leak, but that's also the one that I've taken off and put back on. So I'm probably going to try and do that with the top one. I'll probably take it off, put it back on, make sure it's not over tightened, and then see if that fixes the problem. If not, I'm going to have to do a little bit more work to try and get that to stop leaking, so we'll see what happens there. But when I was messing around with stuff, this fitting also let a couple of drops leak, so it wasn't a problem until I was doing a lot of messing around with the reservoir and trying to see if I could get that end cap off and put it back on without having to take everything apart and drain everything. But I'm probably going to go ahead and replace it anyway, just in case, because I'd rather have it not leaking for sure than maybe leaking only because I put weird pressure on it. Because like right now it's not leaking, but I don't know if I want to chance it since I know it has leaked. So I'll probably have to drain it all again. I did drain it once or twice already. I actually made that task pretty easy on myself because what I did was I put a little drain port down here in the corner. You can kind of see it, it's right here. And what that is it's just a port that goes to the bottom of the radiator. And from there, I can flip it upside down so that all the water is down in the bottom of it instead. So I can flip it upside down, and then I can take out that little stop fitting, and then I have a ball valve with a male-to-male fitting that screws into that, and then I have a piece of tubing on the end of that I can then, you know, run into the sink, run into a gallon jug or bucket or whatever I feel like putting that into, and then flip it back over, and then I open up one of the ports on the reservoir and let all the water drain out that I can, close the valve, stop the reservoir up again, roll it around a couple of times just to try and get more water to get into the bottom part of the radiator, and then drain it again and do that. So it's really not that bad to drain it, but still a pain in the butt to have to, you know, put everything together, fill it, run it for a little while, drain it so that way if there's any junk in the water block, the radiator, the tubing, whatever, that gets its, you know, flushed all out, and hopefully anything like that. I did wash all the parts, you know, rinse them all out before I put it together, so hopefully any of that's minimized. But I always like to leak check with just plain distilled water, and then I'll just get rid of that. And then I have treated water that I use. It's got like a little bit of a biocide in it. So anyway, that is the next step for this. I need to get that done, get it drained, replace the fitting, mess around with the reservoir. I might do some more work with the reservoir outside of the build, so just hook it up to a pump and just pump water out of the reservoir back into the reservoir and mess around with it to make sure that it's not going to leak, and then put it back in the system, just so that way I don't have to worry about trying to, you know, put it all back together, fill it all that crap, and then have it leak again and have to do the whole process all over again. So that's the plan on that part. Otherwise, I am quite happy with how it turned out. I did have, I have some orange LED strips. I have a strip on the bottom and there's another strip up here on the top, and that lights up this whole side. And then the back side of the motherboard actually has LEDs built into the motherboard, and then those also illuminate. So I haven't had that part of it running in the case yet, just because I don't run the actual system when I'm filling the loop. I just use like a little power brick that can run only the pump, so I don't have anything powered. So if I do have a leak and it drips on something electrical, I don't have to replace it. So that's kind of why the paper towels are there, just to catch anything. You know, if this fitting, that fitting, this fitting happen to leak, then those paper towels will catch it. I'll be able to notice. So anyway, the LEDs I do have powered on the other side of the motherboard. That's where they plug into the power supply. I did have to go ahead and take my Molex power brick and plug it in so that the LEDs could work, just so I could see it lit up. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty exciting. And I'm pretty pleased. I mean, I've spent a couple of months working on this off and on. Now it's finally starting to all come together, so hopefully this will get done this week, unless I do need to figure something else out for that reservoir. I don't know if I have to replace that or something, then it'll take a little bit longer, but hey, we're getting there. But anyway, that's about it for this shop update. So as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate any and all comments, and until next time, I will catch you later.